Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Rowan. It's time to predict Best Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress, doing the October predictions. So for Supporting Actress, the consensus seems to be Zoe Saldana at number 1. And I can understand it. I think the performance, like she does a lot. She cries, she sings, she's essentially a lead. And I think it's nice to see her in a film where she's finally getting some awards recognition. So there's a bit of a narrative there. And Emilia Perez is really big in Best Picture. It's probably the highest, aside from The Brutalist, that someone's going to get nominated for. Though I think it's possible people are getting around Zoe Saldana because the other contenders haven't been seen as widely. Emilia Perez has had a presence since Cannes, and we only just saw Blitz, and not as many people have seen The Brutalist. So I think there's room for another campaign to kick up into high gear, but I actually don't see the challenger to Saldana. Her career narrative seems really strong. The other performance I think is the most formidable is Felicity Jones in The Brutalist. Weirdly, you won't find as much buzz about her performance in The Brutalist reviews. You won't find as many mentions as like Guy Pearce and Adrian Brody. I thought she was absolutely magnificent. She definitely has many Oscar scenes. Yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody from The Brutalist has a shot to win the Oscar, honestly. Yeah. And I do think Felicity Jones is number 2. I would personally vote for her over Saldana. I think Saldana's character is lacking. I don't know how much that would hurt her. I think that if people are really into Emilia Perez, she probably just wins. But yeah, I don't think that the Saldana thing is set in stone. She is going to win SAG, and I think Felicity Jones will win BAFTA. Saldana just has a lot of material. She's singing. She's definitely stronger in the first half than the back half, but I think it's enough. It doesn't strike me as that's definitely going to win the Oscar, but neither have many Oscar-winning performances. Now, so let me go make a claim here. Those are the only locks. If you think anyone else is locked, you're mistaken. Danielle Deadwyler, while she's like number 2 in the community and a lot of people think she's winning, I think this is not true. She is good enough to be in the winning conversation or to be number 2, but the Piano Lesson, I think, is just falling. Being the lone nomination for your film is very dangerous territory, and I don't think that her being owed for Till is necessarily going to help, unfortunately. I think even that snub should just reaffirm to us that there is no guarantee just because she's very good in the role. Being pushed by Netflix, being, part of the latest August Wilson adaptation, where the last 2 of those films got 2 acting nominations, and they all have a lot of prestige around them, like Denzel Washington producing. They have the other films as precedents, so it'll be an easy film to put on people's radars who are voting for awards. We did get a lone nominee last year, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, who never faltered despite the Color Purple faltering. That's true. But the Piano Lesson has like no other prospects, unfortunately. Deadwyler, I still think she's gonna get in though. It's so strong. She's easily the standout. She has a couple scenes that are very, dripping with this performance deserves awards. And she's just a phenomenal actress. Like, come on, can we please get her nominated for this? I don't think she can win, though, because of what we established as, like, you're the lone nominee for your movie. It's really hard to win. I think she might be above Saoirse Ronan, though. If Blitz doesn't get nominated for Best Picture, which I think is something we definitely have to consider as being possible, then she's not coming along. If it does get nominated, she's most likely in. If Blitz is in, I don't see how she's not in. She did a lot in the film. But did she do anything that was unexpected of her that maybe voters will say, oh, this is very different from what we've seen? I mean, no, I think they'll say, I really liked her in that movie, and I liked the movie. It is contingent on them liking Blitz first, but if you like Blitz, you have to say that she was very good in it. I loved a couple of her scenes, especially the one where she sings. There's actually 2 scenes where she sings, and I think she's excellent. She's the second biggest character in the cast. Like, it makes total sense. But what's the chance that Blitz doesn't get nominated? I mean, I think that Critics' Choice usually go for the movies that they think they're supposed to in the beginning of the year, and so they'll probably get it in. They'll probably nominate her as well. BAFTA maybe even will nominate it in their 5, and I think that she will come along with BAFTA. And they'll you're coming right. You're gonna come in hot off of the BAFTA nomination. But what if it misses PGA or something very serious? You're still coming in hot off of the BAFTA nominations, most likely. Or because it might miss Best Film at BAFTA, it might. How's it going to do at Globes? Is it going to get any Golden Globe nominations? Is she going to get in a Golden Globe? Yeah. Yeah, she might get in. She might also not. And what if she doesn't get SAG? I don't know how concerned we should actually be about Blitz, because I know the reviews are in red alert territory, but they're not terrible, and it's mainly like the Letterboxd, Twitter buzz. And it's a war film whose target audience is those older voters. I just want to pose to you that it might not be there. That's fine. And
That's fine.
I don't know what her position would be without it.
I would like to, if you want to argue for her like being out, you have to justify somebody else. Like, and you probably can, honestly.
I don't need to do
Your
that.
best bet is if you think Selena Gomez is going to get nominated. then you
I
can argue
don't.
for
I
it.
think Selena Gomez will get SAG and maybe Critics' Choice, and that's it.
And Golden Globe.
No, I didn't say that. Why do you think she would definitely get Golden Globe?
Because there's 6 slots and she'll just get it.
I think Selena Gomez is going to get snubbed at the end of the day, but she's going to be very close. Like, here's the thing. Most people who see Amelia Perez, they think that she's either meh or like, oh, she was pretty good. I don't think she's on the level of Saldana and Gascon in the movie. She's being like carted around with the movie nicely, and she's very much part of the ensemble, part of the campaign, all over the posters and the trailers. So that definitely is good for her. The role has some meat to it. There's some emotional scenes with her that are probably enough, but I just don't know that the impression that you leave with is so strong of Selena Gomez that she would stand up to the Academy, who I think might be a little more reluctant to let her in.
It's really contingent on how much do they love Amelia Perez.
Lady Gaga didn't get in for House of Gucci.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie was very much like a pop performance. That didn't get in. That's where I'm thinking that she could miss.
I actually don't have her in my top 5 either. I have Ingenue Ellis-Taylor for Nickel Boys. Maybe we're biased here because we love Nickel Boys, but it struck me that Ingenue Ellis-Taylor had enough scenes where she was excellent, very memorable, that I think she could get in. I think this depends on your confidence in Nickel Boys overall, and I probably have more confidence than most people.
No, I'm coming around to being like, you should have confidence.
I think so too. I see no reason not to be confident that Nickel Boys will do well with the Oscars. It's one of few films that has excellent critical acclaim and has that prestige around it. So I figure, Nickel Boys is more likely in director, screenplay, and picture, but why not supporting actress? I could see her getting boosted by critics.
It is a 4.0 on Letterboxd. Really solid. Like, I don't care that it's a little divisive because the people who like it are putting it at number 1. They are. And I think the Oscars will like it more than anybody else. And so Ingenue Ellis-Taylor, I don't know what her precursor haul is. Like, I don't even know if CCA is going to go for Nickel Boys or not.
They might not.
She might get into that.
I could see her getting snubbed for a CCA and for SAG.
Because even BAFTA also may not like Nickel Boys that much. The guilds could be a little spottier because it's, a little artsier.
I see the BAFTAs as a general trend leaving out African American films. So unfortunately, she might miss there as well. And this year they don't have the jury to try to amend that problem.
I think the BAFTAs will nominate Rossellini. That just seems like something they would do.
Yeah, Rossellini really does not have a lot of screen time in Conclave, though.
I
She's
understand.
being predicted still decently widely.
I thought Ingenue Ellis was really exceptional, and that and maybe even directing for Nickel Boys are nominations where I feel pretty good about them for the Oscar, but it's not as easy to justify with the precursors. But at the same time, the movie feels like it would do better with the Oscars than anywhere else, maybe like Beasts of the Southern Wild. But even if critics groups don't always go for Nickel Boys in Best Film, I can weirdly see them slotting in Ellis-Taylor anyway. I don't know what that is to me, but I think that is possible.
I'm also gaining some confidence that Critics' Choice might actually do Nickel Boys some justice.
I think it will get into PGA, actually. AFI, Critics' Choice, I'm curious if they have Nickel Boys in. Some people walked away saying she didn't do enough, she didn't have enough time. I don't see it.
So what do you think about Toni Collette and Juror Number 2? There is a rumor that Juror Number 2 isn't going to be pushed that hard for Oscars. But Toni Collette looks like she's doing a lot. I watched the trailer and I thought, that's definitely enough to get in there. You're doing at least as much as Kathy Bates probably did in Richard Jewell.
Yeah, but Kathy Bates has been nominated more than Toni Collette. Definitely looks like a showy role. I guess I'm not convinced about it. I think
I'm not convinced about
people
the movie.
tend to get hopeful about Toni Collette in general. I think the movie's a bit of a wild card, so I wouldn't put it in, but I would maybe have her at number 6.
Other than that, it kind of thins out. You got Leonie Benesch for September 5, which I still am kind of thinking that's fake news. That's coming out in a month. Where is anything for that movie?
They haven't even released an American trailer for it.
And why am I supposed to think there's enough from just the couple festivals it's been to, only one of which it really made a splash at, that it's going to do much? So
I saw that people were responding to seeing it listed as number 1 at Hollywood Reporter, and they were like, I don't know what this is. I have no idea what's going on. Why is this here?
It's not that it couldn't happen, though.
It needs to. It really has a lot to prove for me to put it in. I trust that some people saw it and they genuinely believed, okay, this is really awards material. But I'm not seeing that there's an inherent audience built in for this movie, and that when it comes out, it's going to do like much better than any other film that kind of comes and goes at the indie box office. Rossellini is not impossible. Now, you obviously want more screen time from her. And it's very insecure the fact that she doesn't have it. But, you know, she was there at TIFF. Like, she talked about her role, and people were like, yeah, like, you really did bring that to the role. Like, you were great in it. She has a great narrative to be, you know, nominated for the first time. And as long as she comes around with the film, which is going to have a big presence overall, maybe she is kind of sneaking in there in the back door, like a Jackie Weaver, Silver Linings Playbook, or Judi Dench in Belfast. Like, I think that she is in the top 10. She's not gone.
Yeah.
And as long as BAFTA nominates her, there is a possibility. We know how this goes.
I can't help but feel my top 5 is hopeful. I have Ingenue Ellis Taylor, and I have Deadwyler in. It feels hopeful to me.
Deadwyler might get fucking snubbed. I think Nickel Boys is going to get nominated for Best Picture.
I feel okay with it. Like, I just don't think I have 5 out of 5.
Well, you don't have 5 out of 5. It's October. Just to comment on a few other people on this list, I did throw Ariana Grande in there, and I kind of thought, all right, well, like, if Wicked's in Best Picture, what are her odds? And I was like, it's pretty damn good. Her odds are pretty good if Wicked's in Best Picture. So I put her at 10. I don't know if that's like too high, but I do kind of think everybody else is not happening anyway. So Margaret Qualley and The Substance, kind of wishful thinking on the part of film Twitter, I think. I can buy Demi Moore. I can maybe buy the movie. I still don't think that Margaret Qualley would come along. You can yell at me about that if you want. Natasha Lyonne, His Three Daughters, that movie just did not make a splash on Netflix, unfortunately. It's a great film. You should definitely watch it. It's one of my favorites of the year. And her performance is, like, the best in this category, maybe. It's just not looking like it's happening. Michelle Austin for Hard Truths, only on here because she could maybe get a BAFTA nomination. And she's also great in the film. Connie Nielsen, Gladiator 2. Haven't really seen much word about her from the earlier reactions, so that puts her pretty low. Supporting actor?
I don't even know how many I'd say are locks. I'm going to say Guy Pearce for The Brutalist is a lock for a nomination.
He is.
That's pretty obvious to me. People are thinking he could win. I'm open to it, but I'm not convinced.
Most people come away thinking that he was amazing, but I've talked to some people who don't think that he's, like, the best he could be. I don't know if I'm 100% on his performance either.
But does that even matter if the optics are that he's Guy Pearce, he's in the film a lot, it's first nomination?
No, I'm not saying that he couldn't win just because I think that. Guy Pearce has a lot of goodwill for him, and the performance is showy, and he does yell a lot, and he's got a lot of screen time. So I definitely think that people could rally behind him winning. I don't think that would be that hard. And The Brutalist is really big in Best Picture. Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain. We feel that this has had a comeback. That is mostly because it seems to have played really well at Telluride and is playing well at NIFF. I saw the film at NIFF again. It got a lot of laughs. It's really likable. I think it was responded to very warmly. Every time you show it to people, they're like, oh, Kieran Culkin should get nominated for that. It's just it's so damn obvious. If he's in supporting, that's like a lead role. A very showy lead role. He's got a lot of goodwill towards him as an actor that he's built up over the past decade.
It's mainly a case of the film looks pretty good in Best Picture to the point where I have it in my top 10. This might actually be Searchlight's biggest Best Picture contender. I know people are like, well, of course, A Complete Unknown must be the big contender, but we don't know. I think Kieran Culkin definitely gets nominated if the film's in Best Picture, like, unquestionably. It even makes me think, if A Real Pain's in Best Picture, that he could win. And I wonder if he's going to sweep critics groups.
Gold Derby actually has him at number 1 right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from because they don't even have A Real Pain in the top 10.
I think it's a lot because of Succession.
Well, the thing I think that hurts him the most is his character is not all that different from his character in Succession, so people might just see, you know, this is a performance that's playing to its strengths, which it is. But sometimes people want to see you play a little bit different of a guy. To be fair to Guy Pearce, like, he has that. He's kind of different than you've seen him before. Although Kieran Culkin is just like a massive performance, just huge.
So I'm definitely considering that for the win. I just don't have 100% confidence that A Real Pain is in, but if someone looked into the future and told you that A Real Pain is getting nominated for Best Picture, would you put Kieran Culkin at number 1?
I still think Guy Pearce makes a lot of sense.
I mean, The Brutalist is a bigger contender overall. I'm actually really tempted.
Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. I think that he could win if the movie wins Best Picture, which is not that ridiculous of an if. Him and Coleman Domingo are going to do well with critics groups because they know that, like, those are two good performances to just kind of have in there. And Sing Sing is going to do well when it screens to voters. It just is. If the movie built up the passion to win, I think he actually stands a better chance than Coleman Domingo, who I think probably cannot take down Adrian Brody. And so maybe he would have to be the actor to go along if the film's winning Best Picture.
Yeah, but if people get a sense for Sing Sing in the cast, and if it wins SAG Ensemble, like I could see him taking SAG for supporting actor because he represents the ensemble. He has a great story, and once he wins one award, I think it would be like dominoes because you're like, man, that's such a good story. We just have to do it. Again, I don't know what's going to happen with Sing Sing, so I'm not going to say that's going to win right now.
Also, I think that it might be hard for people to want to vote for him over actors who have had more time in the industry.
Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2.
Are we sure about that?
I'm gaining confidence about Gladiator 2 in Best Picture.
Even if it didn't get in, there's a possibility that Denzel Washington comes along just for being Denzel Washington, being a fave. He looks very showy in the movie. We actually have the first reactions from Gladiator 2. A lot of them are saying stuff like, oh my god, Denzel's gonna win for this. He's that showy, he's that good, he's having that much fun. I'm not gonna shoot him up to number one just based off of a first wave of reactions from the premiere, but I am seeing the movie on Thursday and definitely keeping an eye out. I'm open to all things. If anything, it makes me feel really good about his chances of being nominated with or without the film. The film itself, at this point, probably looking pretty good to actually be in Best Picture, but again, we'll have to see. But he's looking most definitely like he is getting nominated. Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown. I mean, that might even on that film's worst day, it could be a Naiad situation where him and Timmy are just very good and they need to get nominated. Although, I don't know, even Norton is like pretty iffy. There was buzz out of the test screening that he was like the best performance in the movie, and he does seem to have a big supporting role. And he does look like he's doing a voice, and he's doing a little goofy sing-along. He's playing a real person too. It's like it's a biopic role. Yep. So there's a lot going for him, and maybe we can't underestimate that Edward Norton's just kind of crush it once again.
Yeah, he looks like a good bet, even though I don't have that much confidence in A Complete Unknown. Next, I have Stanley Tucci for Conclave. This might just be something that everybody nominates because of a career narrative and because they like Conclave. He doesn't stand out as the best supporting member of the cast even. He's just one of many performances in the ensemble that's very good.
But he probably has more screen time than the rest of them. He did do enough, right? Like, don't you think that he kind of did enough? Like,
sort of.
I don't know if he blew me away, but he's in the movie a decent amount. He's a big character.
I think he's going to be like going around award season being like, yes, hello, I would like a nomination, please. And he's going to get BAFTA. That seems pretty easy to me. I think he will get Critics' Choice or Golden Globe. I don't know at SAG.
See,
but he would get a lot of nominations and people might be like, we should nominate him.
But if he misses SAG, I would take it seriously because SAG is now the only place that doesn't have 6 slots. And maybe he's just kind of making it as a number 6 guy. Also, don't you think that our top 5 right now looks really like what SAG's going to look like?
Yeah.
It looks very SAG to me. It doesn't account for the fact that BAFTA is probably not going to nominate Denzel Washington or Edward Norton, I think. So the September 5th boys, everybody isn't supporting, as we have learned. It's between Peter Sarsgaard and John Majaro for that nomination, and I have no clue how to predict that, because I've seen people say, oh, Peter Sarsgaard is the lead of the film, and then I've seen people say that John Majaro is the lead of the film, so people have different opinions on who's lead. I know, but I'm just saying, I don't know who the biggest performance is. I don't know who people's favorite performance is.
If September 5th isn't in Best Picture, no one gets nominated.
I know, but I'm saying if it's in Best Picture, which is why they're here, obviously that's the only, to clarify, they're not getting in without the movie.
Why don't we just say somebody would get in if it's in Best Picture?
But how are we going to rally behind who it is if people can't even decide? There's no obvious
it'll
decision.
happen.
I mean, Peter Sarsgaard has more of a long career, but John Majaro, he was just in a movie in Best Picture.
It'll probably be Peter Sarsgaard because of his career. He has better name recognition.
I want to bring something up to you that I've been seeing as Honora's been getting more buzz. When you saw the movie, and when I saw the movie, we said, I would vote for Mark Edelstein to be nominated in Supporting Actor. What I've been seeing more of is people saying Yuri Borisov is the one that we need to get behind and give some hype to. And I'm starting to think that he's more likely than Edelstein. He's also great and I think would be worthy enough. Especially the last 20 minutes of the film. He leaves a really big impression. And Edelstein's performance is just more spontaneous and playful. I think Yuri Borisov, while his performance is kind of subtle and low-key, it does make sense. I think he carries the film's emotional core.
Yeah, I think he does have a better shot because of ageism. But he didn't even stand out as the best in show to me among the supporting cast. I do understand why people are getting behind him. People love to award the heart of the film.
He also has been in a couple noteworthy films like Compartment Number 6. Honora, if it really is the front runner, might be looking to squeeze in an extra nom or two that people don't expect on nomination morning,
Sure.
and that's definitely one it can do.
You know who I'm really considering? Brian Tyree Henry for The Fire Inside.
He is absolutely worthy.
He is present throughout the film. He's practically the co-lead with Ryan Destiny. The Fire Inside doesn't have any other prospects, unfortunately. It's a very good movie. It goes above and beyond in terms of the character building and the drama. Brian Tyree Henry is a real standout. I wonder if he could campaign at SAG, if he got a surprise nomination, if that could translate to the Academy Awards.
I would say that after TIFF, it feels like The Fire Inside just hasn't had any buzz. But again, you know, that movie is aiming to be like a Christmas release, and we haven't had a trailer come out for it to build buzz. I can definitely see him getting SAG or Critics' Choice. Also, is Brian Tyree Henry really going to get two lone supporting actor nominations back to back? That would be an insane feat. I think he's worthy of it. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice.
The Apprentice just isn't doing well. It hasn't captured the audience that I hoped it would, and it hasn't done well at the box office. So what's going to happen with this? Are they even going to have money to campaign it for awards? It seems as though the marketing budget is pretty low as well. I don't really believe in The Apprentice very much.
People really like Jeremy Strong, though. I've seen a lot of hype for him. He's got a huge role, and
that's
him and Stan, people are really talking about them.
Yeah, I think the critics wouldn't do it, and so I don't know who would.
I don't know, SAG.
It's not that it's not worthy, it's hard to just see the path.
Yeah, I think that's the top 10, with the 10th slot being a September 5th boy. I think there's a lot of shuffling that could go on within this 10. I don't think anybody else has a shot. I think that's
Javier Bardem in Dune. Is there a potential for a revival?
Oh, I don't think so. Samuel L. Jackson for The Piano Lesson is absolutely done. He isn't even the standout supporting male performance in that film.
Adam Pearson's been getting some buzz for his performance in A Different Man, which I think is well deserved, but A Different Man is quite invisible at the moment. It's going to take a lot to campaign that film, get it seen by enough people.
We know that both Challengers boys are going supporting. I don't know how much of a long shot Josh O'Connor or Mike Weiss would be. I think very long.
I think that's a long shot. J.K. Simmons for juror number 2. That's something we could look out for. Depends on how juror number 2 performs, but there's a good chance he has the screen time for a nomination.
All right, those are supporting actor and actress predictions. And remember, if you want to support the channel and you want more content, join our memberships. It's $2 a month, and we put out multiple videos a week talking about various topics relating to the Oscars.
Just recently, we asked the question, do the critic top 10 lists matter, and do they correlate for Best Picture? So we did a bit of a deep dive on that. Consider joining the channel. And if you're not making your predictions on Award Expert, you're just being unreasonable. It's the best place to store your predictions. We both use it. It's completely free. And you can add your friends there. You can follow your friends. I'm going to be putting out a lot more features closer to awards season this year that I'm really excited about.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
You think Kieran Culkin's winning for A Real Pain if that's in Best Picture?